What happened to Abe and Gus, the calves that we were raising? Hello and welcome. Welcome to Input English. In a previous video, I talked about the experience of getting 2 bull calves from a dairy and raising them. We fed them powdered milk and let them grow. They grew from less than 100 pounds apiece up to more than 1,000 pounds apiece. My plan was to teach them to be draft animals so that I could tell them to turn right or turn left or go forward or stop. My plan was to use them to move heavy objects as draft animals. Ox teams are a part of American history, and it's an interesting part. If you look at television series and movies depicting the great migration of people in the United States from the East to the West, frequently those movies and series depict traveling on the Oregon Trail. You may have heard of the Oregon Trail. Hundreds of thousands of people traveled on the Oregon Trail to get to the West. They frequently traveled in covered wagons, so it's common in television series and movies that depict traveling settlers moving west to see them traveling with a covered wagon. In these television series and movies, you will see these wagons being pulled by horses. The reality is that a majority of these wagons pulled from the east to the west along the Oregon Trail were pulled by ox teams. Really. So why? Why do these movies and why do television series not show ox teams? The answer is simple. In the 20th century, when these television series and movies were made, ox teams were not available. Nobody was training them. It's very labor intensive to train an ox team. Oxes are not ridden like horses. They can be trained as an ox team, but it is very unusual for someone to ride an ox. So it's a simple market force at work here. When the producer of a movie or a television series is trying to get a hold of animals to film scenes in the movie, ox teams are simply not available. Certainly not available in the numbers necessary to show what it was like. And so they're practical. They just have these wagons being pulled by teams of horses. But recall, it isn't the way it was. A majority of the wagons that moved the settlers to the west of the United States along the Oregon Trail, a majority of those wagons pulled by ox teams. In our experience raising these 2 calves, I learned how much work it takes to train an ox team. And looking back, I was not up to the task. I didn't have the knowledge to do it, and I didn't put in the time to do it. So as these 2 animals grew, they became less and less controllable. And they became more and more dangerous to us. And so I had to make a decision. The decision I made was that they would be sent to the auction. And working with the people from the cattle auction was very easy. They sent a team of 2 fellows out with a trailer, and they very expertly loaded the 2 animals in the trailer and took them off to the cattle auction. Now, these were purebred brown Swiss bulls. So based on their appearance and what I told the operators of the auction, they likely were sold as bulls for a dairy. But you don't know. They may have gone to slaughter. We just don't know. Looking back, it was an extraordinary experience to raise cattle. That was not our only experience raising cattle. We made a deal with one of the neighbors to allow him to run cattle on our property. No money changed hands, but the cattle kept the grass down a bit, and it was less of a problem to mow. So our experience raising cattle was a positive one, but it didn't really turn out the way I expected because I had not anticipated the amount of work it was going to take and the amount of time that I needed to put into it. Would I do it again? Probably not. So that's the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I invite your comments below. Did you ever raise cattle? And I hope you join us in future videos. See you soon.